like you. Do you like me?
Oh, yeah, we got drawn against America, the United States of America. And we'll go into that tournament. Confidence will be high, and we'll have, a few friendlies behind us, some good results. And we'll think, wow, this will be easy. And it's all credit to the lads, and the lads done great, and it's all credit to the manager and the lads. And then we'll get beaten 2-0 by America. And Americans can't even play football.
Don't be rude.
I'm just saying. More snow fell across Britain. Snow?
Oh, no.
Temperatures plummeted to -8°C, which is impossible to work out in Fahrenheit because you cannot multiply a minus number. That's a mathematical fact. -8. Blimey. The wintry weather showed no signs of ending as an Arctic blast brought sleet and icy conditions on the first day of April. It's blooming freezing out there. Cold enough to freeze a robot's nodes.
Affirmative.
The Met Office warned drivers to take care if travelling across the far south of England after snow fell in parts of Kent amid expectations for 0.8 inches of snow over higher ground. 0.8 inches. That's nearly a metre.
Correct.
Forecasters said wind, borne snow and sleet was likely to affect visibility. They were drunk at the time. A little bit refreshed.
Booze.
Forecasters said wind, borne snow and sleet was likely. Was likely? Well, that's incorrect. Were likely to affect visibility on roads, so drivers should speed up and carve their way through that poor visibility. Ensure that you are never less than 2 feet behind the car in front, and lean on your horn a lot because that aids driving. Of course, if you're in a hatchback, you will already be doing this.
Thank you.
Strong winds are recorded with gusts of 53 miles an hour in Kent, Norfolk and Lincolnshire. Wherever they are. A Met Office weather warning was imposed for snow and ice in eastern areas of Suffolk, Essex and Kent, eastern Scotland, north east England and eastern parts of the East Midlands. Sounds like everywhere to me. Everywhere. The Met Office said accumulations of snow are possible, particularly across eastern Scotland and hillier areas of northeast England. Forecasters expect up to 5 centimetres could fall on high ground. And you double it and add 32 to get Her Majesty's feet from centimetres. So 5 centimetres in feet, that's double 5 is 10. And 10 plus 32 is 42. Wow. There's going to be 42 feet of snow on higher ground. Can you believe that?
No.
The coldest UK temperature recorded overnight, -7.7°C at Tulloch Bridge in the Highlands, Senny Bridge in Wales, and Great Dun Fell in Cumbria, which must be an April Fool because they all sound like made-up names to me. Meanwhile, the Environment Agency issued a flood warning and 2 flood alerts for areas along the River Thames.
Warning, warning.
1 flood warning, 2 alerts. Met Office meteorologist Matty said there's a cold air mass over the UK. Yeah, we know that. Saturday, cold, milder in the west under thick cloud and showers. Elsewhere, sunshine, scattered showers. Sunshine, scattered showers. Outlook for Sunday to Tuesday, dry, bright in the south. Otherwise, cloudy with rain at times. Most persistent in the northwest. Well, I bet it will be. Checking while you wait. Aha! Oh, dear. Well, you have a brief respite, Glaswegians. It's not raining at the moment, and neither will it be raining for most of tomorrow. In fact, you might actually see the sun tomorrow. Do you have anything to wear in the sun?
No.
Normal service is resumed on Sunday, though. It'll be raining on Sunday and raining on Monday and raining on Tuesday and raining on Wednesday and raining on Thursday. Or not raining on Friday or Saturday next. Pfft, rubbish. And then raining on Sunday and raining on Monday and raining on Tuesday and raining on Wednesday and raining on Thursday and raining every day for the rest of your lives. Still, never mind. Where am I? Oh, yeah, Sunday to Thursday, middle of April. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, that's Sunday to Thursday. Persistent rain in the northwest. Correctamundo. Would you like to hear the long-range weather forecast?
No.
Of course you wouldn't. This is for the first couple of weeks of April. Dry, cloudy, breezy, cold. Then, rainy, heavy at times, possible thunder, lightning, very, very frightening. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. It's where I left it, right there. Then for the second half of the month. Now, at this time of year, it could be fantastic or awful. So, good luck, everyone. Here we go. Second half of April. Remaining unsettled at the start of this period. Some rain and showers, heavy at times, strong winds are likely. And then towards late April, more settled conditions might creep in and temperatures are most likely to be above average. More settled conditions might creep in and temperatures are most likely to be above average. We'll take it. Chris texts, I've now had 3 flies come into my home. I had to use my handheld fly zapper. I can confirm that summer is coming. Yes, you do need one of them death bats. That'll correct them. Have 2. Just dot them about your home, in case of emergencies. Dan texts, it's great to see the Tories finally starting to tackle the obesity crisis. We can't afford to eat, and when we shiver off the last few pounds. And it's not written very well, but I feel your emotion, Dan. And Marion texts, just warning, it's a new moon.
Oh, no.
A new moon, that's okay. New moon is just fine. That'll keep the trolls inside. It's a full moon. What is the problem? New moon, that's dark outside. No problem at all. Trolls don't go out in the dark. Any fool know that. Well, you'll never believe it is the headline. You'll never believe it, as in EU''L'. You'll never believe it. Boris Johnson has claimed that because we have left the EU, it means that ministers are now able to slash the price of our gas bills. The cash sweetener, which came only because we have left the European Union, means that they can bin the unfair and damaging £2 billion a year tax on gas and electricity prices. Fuel bills will be lower for everyone, they said. Liar! Of course, this is not current news. This was from 2016. And this was a promise that they made to us if we left the European Union, that life was going to be cheaper. Do you remember? You remember Smug said, food is going to be cheaper and clothes and shoes are going to be cheaper.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Absolutely. Everything that man said was completely the opposite of the truth. But at least he said it with a supercilious sneer. Boris Johnson and Michael Gove in 2016 promised to scrap VAT on household energy bills if Britain backs a Brexit. All we had to do was obey their instructions and this country would be cheaper and happier to boot. It was the first cash sweetener of the EU referendum campaign, and they argue that leaving the EU will allow ministers to bin the unfair and damaging £2 billion a year tax on gas and electricity prices. Writing exclusively for The Stun, the Tory Out campaigners promised, and I quote, fuel bills will be lower for everyone. Liar! and we all thought, oh, well, that sounds like a good idea. Where do I sign? VAT of 5% remains on domestic dual fuel bills. Labour's Gisela Stewart, chair of the Vote Leave campaign, also signed that piece, which argues that leaving the EU will boost wages and allow the UK to regain control of our borders. Hey, how's that working out for us, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Well, it's working out pretty well for Gisela, because since she signed that letter promising us rainbows and unicorns, she's been given a life peerage to sit in the House of Lords and rule over us for as long as she lives, because, you know, that's democracy. This fantastical document that persuaded us to vote to leave the European Union did not stop at cheaper fuel bills. Oh, no. Did I say food or fuel? I think I said fuel. I maybe meant fuel and said food. Shall I do that again?
No.
This fantastical document that persuaded us to vote to leave the European Union. See, I'm screwing it up the second time. I'm not very good at this job. Have you heard? This fantastical document that persuaded us to vote to leave the European Union did not stop at cheaper fuel bills. Oh, no. You think of an issue and it promised that it would get better if only we would disentangle ourselves from the evil European socialist experiment. They said, we believe working people will be better off if we leave the EU. The NHS will be stronger, class sizes smaller and taxes lower. Wow. Completely incorrect in every respect. And I had to double-check this to make sure that this was not an April Fool's joke. But this is what they promised us. The NHS will be stronger, class sizes smaller and taxes lower, and fuel bills lower. We'll have more money to spend on our priorities, wages will be higher, and fuel bills will be lower, they said. Leaving the EU is a great opportunity for us to take back control of our borders, our economy, and our democracy. Every single one of those promises was a lie. It was a no for the first one, and a no for the second one, and a...
No.
For all of the rest. Good grief. Do you ever get the feeling you've been had?
Yes.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Oh, hello.
Ricky tweets, hey, Ricky, you're so fine, Ricky. Says, do you think Fishy Sunak has packed any cashmere jumpers for his jolly California? I just hope he remembers to turn the lights off before he leaves. He ain't going to remember to do no such thing. He has people to do that for him. Gone to California, has he? Very nice. He was in California just before Christmas, wasn't he? I think he expected to spend Christmas in California, but businesses over here were freaking out because of the Omicron variant and the closing down before Christmas, and they needed the person responsible for business to be in attendance. So Fishy sat in California and had virtual Zoom meetings with business persons in this country. Now, why was he in California? Because he had to apparently have face-to-face meetings with business persons there. So he went to California, 6,000 miles away, to have face-to-face meetings with business people and talk to business people in this country, which is actually responsible for, on Zoom. Wouldn't it have been a better idea to do it the other way around? I mean, it would have saved him travelling 6,000 miles at our expense. First class, no doubt. Of course, he does have one of his giant homes in California, so I'm sure that had absolutely nothing to do with his decision to go there just before Christmas, because he might have had to suffer Christmas in California, in one of his homes, had he not been called back early. Good thinking, Fishy. We see you. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah. 2 points. But since you've been talking about Fishy, the petrol station incident,
Mm-hmm.
somebody said that the press only became aware it wasn't their car when they spotted that there wasn't a booster cushion on the driver's seat.
No, I think that the clue came much earlier than that because it had the word Kia written on it. Billionaires don't drive Kias. I mean, it's probably an excellent product in every regard, but then so's an M&S jumper, and that billionaires don't wear those either.
The other thing I wanted you to be judge on this one. If you imagine there was a tin-eared competition for this week,
Mm-hmm.
Prince Andrew has said after his appearance at Westminster Abbey that he wants to be front and centre of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee ceremony.
Right.
Which is one. The other one, you've got to judge between that and Boris Johnson holding a party where they all troop past the mourners at the wall the day that the fixed penalties were awarded for them having parties.
Yeah, that was the most gaslighting thing I've ever seen in my life. I think they've peaked. They were really going for it for a while there, and they must wake up in the morning and think, what can we do to them today? Because there's absolutely nothing that we do to them that stops them voting for us. So let's play games. Let's just think of some awful thing we can do to them. We can poke them with a stick while, I was going to say something awful. Stop myself just in time. I was going to say something that they would be doing to our prone, helpless forms. Really, that was unbroadcastable.
Disgusting.
So I stopped myself just in time.
When I saw that footage, that was your little speech that you just made about poking us with a stick was exactly what came to my mind on that.
Yeah.
And then Fabricant came out.
Oh, my God.
And they interviewed him. And he said, we had a wonderful time.
Yeah, it's lovely to get together every now and again, yeah.
They took a photograph of us. It was great. And I'm thinking, how insensitive when you've got all the mourners there for the Hearts Wall who lost relatives, and they blanked them. They just walked past them. They looked the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how more can you prod and poke us before there's a flaming revolution?
Well, there won't be a revolution, and those very same people will probably vote Conservative next time around because, look, a dinghy. Thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. As far as Prince Andrew is concerned, the Queen seems to have made her mind up. It's not the decision that we all made, but, you know, that's up to Her Majesty, I suppose. And as for the party thing, well, that was just about as low as they've gone. Just when you thought that they couldn't actually go any lower, they managed to find a whole basement level that we previously did not know existed. What do you do on the day that the fines, the very famous fines, come in for the very famous bring your own booze business meetings? What do you do on the day of those fines arriving? You have another party. Brilliant. Oh, they must have laughed when they thought about that. Oh, this will really get them, they thought. I wonder what they'll do. Nothing is what we'll do. Can't wait to vote Conservative again. Because otherwise we get socialist, and we won't want that, would we? 0345 6060 973. Archie texts, Putin is demanding we pay our gas in rubles, which is worth tuppence. What's he all about? Well, alarmingly, rubles have regained all the value that they've lost pretty much. So that was worth it, wasn't it? It didn't make any difference at all. And we're still paying him, we in the West, still paying him about quarter of a billion? Or is it $750 million? I don't know. You get past a million and it's all like funny money to me. But I think it's £750 million a day. What? A day for his, for him to squirt his oil and gas uppers. Got to get off that. And people have got to stop whining about wind farms on land. Just put them up there. Like I said last week. They should go down the side of every motorway in the land because the country's already ruined. You put a motorway through it, it's ruined already. Nothing you can do about it. It's an incredible noise for at least a mile either side. Absolutely nothing you can do about it. That land is ruined. Put some wind farms on there. They look great. It's a terrific design, and just resting your eyes on them is it's a marvel. And it makes you think, oh, look, all that hot, fresh energy being produced out of nothing. But people will say, well, no, I don't want that next to my land. And then nothing will get done. Great. Of course, we'll be propelled to do it by, oddly, the same people that spent a boatload of money getting us out of the European Union, and the same people that made a boatload or spent a boatload of money getting the peach powder puff president into the United States of America's White House.
Oh, shut up!
Yes, Donnie, I'm talking about you. Same people, same money, same few faces over and over again, and now they're trying to persuade us to remain dependent on oil and gas. Oh, no, you wouldn't want any of that filthy, clean energy, would you? Weird people. It's like a couple of billionaires have staged a coup. and nobody's doing anything about it because, if we complain, that would be rude. Don't be rude.
Be polite!
Chelsea. Hello, Mark.
Oh, hello, sir. Hi. Can I talk about Partygate rather than Brexit, which I was initially going to talk about, but because everything's been said about Brexit, really?
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, what's his name? Ian Dale spent an hour inviting the public to describe all the benefits of it, and we went through them. It was sovereignty, something that cannot be measured
yes.
in economic terms.
Freedom. I bet somebody said freedom.
Decades.
Yeah.
It's going to take decades to reap the benefits of something we've been in for decades, meaning the EEC. I think that was it.
Well, it's not going to take decades to reap the benefit because there is no benefit. They're just going to get worse. It's like a slow puncture. Slow puncture does not get better over time.
But can I quickly go on about Partygate very quickly?
Yes.
Well, rather than on the spot 50 quid fines for minor civil servants, senior, the two very obvious things I'm just astonished haven't hit the headlines, which is transferring billions in cash quite openly to associates and colleagues, and you can decide for rubbish, reject unusable substandard stuff, namely PPE and track and trace.
Mm-hmm.
You can decide whether mates, they call it fosking, so they admit they don't look at the market when deciding who to give it to. They give it to associates and chums, and you can decide whether there's kickbacks or not. So, one, a trial and an investigation to establish innocence or guilt, embezzlement and corruption, and two, corporate manslaughter, because transferring billions to your friends for rubbish that didn't work cost lives.
It's the best.
100,000.
I mean, when it happened and people and Boris Johnson had just acceded to the top job, people thought, oh, well, bad luck, Bodge. It's the best luck in the world. There has never been a better time to transfer the wealth of all of the people into the pockets of a vanishingly few number of already stratospherically rich friends and donors and neighbours of the elite. On the other hand, there is one circumstance that's better than a pandemic, and that is a war. And we went from one into the other. That shut him up, didn't it? Here, Mark, I don't know what phone you're using, but you need to return it straight away because it's absolutely awful. Either that or you're in Chelsea. Maybe you should live in a place where you can actually get a phone signal. I've heard that Putney is lovely at this time of year. Just don't breathe any air on the high street. That's my best advice to you. Just don't breathe that high street air if you want to live walking from one end of it to the next. Diane says, what do you think of Prince Andrew attending the memorial? Diane, I refer you to the answer I gave some moments ago, which was that the Queen has certainly made up her mind, which is not the decision that the rest of us have made. But that is at Her Majesty's pleasure. Oh, Struth, not this again. Oh, my God, can't stand it. Every time she steps out of a carriage, this crops up. Hasn't she suffered enough? Philip tweets, come on, Nick, you know where Lincolnshire is. The place where our MP said, we've done our bit on immigration. Yeah, Lincolnshire. I don't know anything about it, but it doesn't prevent me from having a strong opinion. No one lives in Lincolnshire. It's fields for as far as the eye can see. There's just flora and fauna. Josie says, I'm sitting up on my bed eating some chocolate mini eggs. You've made me giggle so much, resulting in a piece of chocolate going down the wrong hole.
Disgusting.
That's a little bit too much information there, Josie. But thanks for sharing. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC. It's 10:30. The news headlines with Andy Ivey.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No!
George tweets, Gisela should have a word with Rishi Sunak if she thinks that Brexit has improved trade. Jim says, in 2016, the Tories did not scrap the VAT on fuel bills, but they did scrap new building regulations requiring better insulation in new build homes, which means the 12 new houses built in the UK since 2016 should all have been way cheaper to heat. Yeah, but they seem to be against that. This is from the New Statesman. Let me see. What date? It's the 18th of March. Quite new. The decision to cut support for insulation is disastrous in the current context. The Tories, of course, being Tories, they cut the requirement to insulate homes. Insulation rates have never recovered from the highs of 10 years ago. In 2013, the government cut support for insulation, and insulation rates fell by 90%. Wow. The rationale was to cut levies of a few pounds from energy bills, but this short-term election-winning thinking came at the expense of much larger long-term savings in heating homes. So, as an inducement to vote Conservative, they gave you a couple of quid. Now, these removing these environmental measures has already added £2.5 billion to energy bills. 2.5, not million, billion. So they gave you a couple of quid saying, here, vote Conservative, but with their other hand, they took £2.5 billion off you. And we were so blindsided, we said...
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Turns out all of those hippies that were gluing their face to the M25, they were completely correct in every respect. Insulate homes. And now the very people that wanted them all locked up, put away, flown out of here to be executed offshore and out of sight, they think, oh, yeah, great idea we've just come up with. Insulate homes. Yeah, why don't we do that? Preston. Hello, Paul.
Good evening.
Paul.
How are you?
Great, mate.
Right, I just want to say that you know that bit that you said at the beginning where they said higher wages?
Higher wages.
Yeah. If we leave the EU.
Higher wages if we leave the EU. Can't wait.
Yeah. They meant higher wages for the MPs.
Yeah, for themselves, yeah.
Nobody else.
Yeah, that last bit was in brackets and they said it very, very softly so that nobody could hear.
Yeah, well, they meant it for MPs, basically.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't it curious that the body that sets MPs' pay after they stopped setting it themselves, because people were, outraged that they gave themselves another pay rise, so they got this body to decide over whether they get a pay rise, and they get more money from this supposedly independent body than they could ever have dreamed of getting through if they had still been awarding themselves the money.
Yeah, I think everybody should become MPs.
Yeah, all right. I'll see you at the dispatch box, Paul. Thanks a lot, mate. I'll be the one waving my order papers in the air. Like that. What a shower, eh? What have we done to deserve this? It must have been awful. Darryl texts, because of the pandemic, the government has spent an extra £400 billion, which works out at about £6,000 per person. So we'll all be fine once that money trickles down to us. I'm waiting with bated breath. Ah, yes, trickle-down economics.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's George Bush's thing and Ronald Reagan's thing and Margaret Thatcher's thing. All you've got to do is give all of the money in the world to the richest people, and then the benefit is that money will trickle down on our upturned, expectant faces. Except it doesn't. It just disappears to sit on a computer screen in an empty building, which also, curiously, is the main trading address of 50,000 other companies. In a dot in the ocean with a Union Jack flag flying on its government building. That's where all that money goes. Never comes down to us. Steve says, so the energy price cap is for 54% wasn't an April Fool's joke then? No. I kept checking, each story that you read about this just seemed worse than the last. You think, no, that can't be true. Absolutely correct in every respect. Let's have Newbury. Colin.
Hiya, mate.
Colin.
You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say. And just to say something, I go down to Newbury Town Centre most weeks and I buy food for homeless people and I ask Greggs to donate coffees to them. And the fact is, today, through the last straw that broke the camel's back, there was a guy there who was an ex-soldier. He had no legs and he's living in a tent between W.H. Smith's and some other shop. And I thought, yeah, what sort of country am I living in? I'm actually going to write a website, and I'll send you a link when I've done it, about the scandals that's going around. And you've just got to look in every high street, and the government are just conning everybody. They've conned us into believing Johnson was a big saviour. It's nonsense. I'm really ashamed to be British.
Well, it's not becoming easier to admit that you're British with each passing day, that's for sure.
No, you know what I mean. I'm ashamed, and I I was furious. I went to the local MP and rang the bell on the door, and nobody answered.
Right. Well, that sounds about right.
And I'm going to write this website. I'm going to show people where it is. I've been studying it for a long time, really, but it just broke the camel's back when I saw this soldier, and he's living in a tent with his girlfriend, and he can't get any help from any food bank or anything. I went into Greg's, and I said, I'll buy something if you donate. And that's what they did, to donate to the coffee.
All right, well, good for them. OK, thanks a lot, Colin. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, it is an absolute scandal. If you put your life on the line for your country should take care of you forever. I mean, the idea that having been a soldier and putting yourself in harm's way, that you might die for this country, then this country, on your return, says, what war? What war? Who are you? Again? What is your business? Just terrible. Still, you know, global Britain and all that. Jason says, at least we're all struggling together. The Tories had a party, or if you're Johnson, a work event, where they had to drink wine that was only £30 a bottle. Pray for them. Really? I didn't read the excruciating detail. Wine was 30 quid a bottle.
Booze.
And that's retail. That's not, presumably. I mean, they didn't go to a restaurant, did they? They hired out a place. Is that right? I'm amazed. You know, they had to walk the gauntlet of those poor people holding up pictures of their dear departed. For this is where the Conservative Party missed a trick here, because I would have thought that the ultimate gaslighting would have been for them, the MPs, to carry pictures of their friends and relatives who didn't die. You know, just to balance things. Would anybody have been surprised if they'd done that? Well, a little bit, just a tiny bit. Not a lot, but a tiny bit. Altex, does Kia drive a Kia? I have no idea. What kind of car would Kia Starmer drive? What kind of car would Kia Starmer drive? I don't know, but it would have an enormous amount of hair gel in the glove compartment.
You don't need to put all of that product in your hair. You just don't.
You just don't. He's an expert. Listen to him, Keir. 0345 6060 973. Leeds. Hello, Mick.
Good evening, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I used to work in the civil service, and when we joined, we were told that there was a civil service code of conduct. And if we broke the law and brought the civil service into disrepute, we would be dismissed. Now, these individuals who were issued with the fines at the Cabinet Office, who work for the civil service, they've broken the law, no doubt about it. So my question is, why haven't they been dismissed? Because Boris Johnson is covering up for them again. There is no moral compass within government, within the civil service, and within politics, so we need to just get rid of the whole lot of them. They're an absolute disgrace.
Well, the problem is, though, if we get rid of all of them, then who are we going to get to run the show?
We would be no worse off, because they are making an absolute mess of it from start to finish.
Well, I suppose if we were on a boat and the captain had no idea where we were going, and the ship's crew were utterly incompetent, if we all put them into a tender vessel and pushed them away, then if the boat, now that we are all in, it just gets blown around randomly by the wind, well, it could barely be any worse.
Exactly, and you know, these utility hikes and things like that, it's absolutely crazy. I'm with Shell Energy, and they've made £12 billion in profit, and they're pleading that the gas prices have gone up. It's all fabricated, it's all fake. They're making profits off the back of poor people who can't afford it. And it's the same with the retailers. You go to the shops now, and everything's gone up by 25%, and there's no valid reason for it. They're actually making profits off the back of poor people, And this government need to start regulating them to get them back into line like they do in France. They say to the utility companies, right, you can't increase your prices by more than 4% every year.
But the good reason for that is that France wasn't stupid enough to sell off their gas and electric or water.
Exactly. So we should bring back these energy companies back into national ownership again. That's the answer.
Right. Well, best of luck with that, Mick. We'd need a change of government, I expect.
Put me in charge, Nick. I'll change everything. I know how the system works, and I can change it for the best.
Mick, can you start first thing Monday morning?
I can start right now, and I can bring in policies that would change things for the better for everyone. Trust me.
Well, it's a little bit late to start now. Maybe take the weekend off, and we'll see you lunchtime on Monday. How does that sound? Make it Tuesday morning. Is Wednesday any good for you? Thursday, Friday. That's my final offer. Thanks a lot, Mick. There you are, you see. Patriot. Adam says, I don't understand how people who earn over a certain amount aren't entitled to something like child benefit, yet the support for the energy price rises is universal. Some people need it more than others and could get more discounts / rebates if the rich didn't get two, full stop. To what? It too, perhaps? Didn't get it too. We're doomed, says Adam. I understood some of that. Nick, I don't understand how people who earn over a certain amount aren't entitled to something like child benefit, yet the support for the energy price rises is universal. What support? Are you talking about that loan? It's not for us. It's to guarantee the energy companies now, this is my take on it. You may disagree, and I would welcome that. As long as you don't call me and tell me about it. Do not call me on 0345 6060 973. And that is the official policy of this show. What was I saying? No idea. 0345 606. I must stop distracting myself. It was something about energy. And then, what was that I was talking about?
I think you were going to the break.
I was going to the break. So offensive.
Well, let's get back to it.
Yeah, I remember what I was talking about now. I was talking about some very important issues. Specifically, this money that they're giving us for our fuel bill. Well, first of all, they're not giving us any money. You're not going to get a cheque in the post, which you can go and spend on comics and sweets. The money does go directly to the energy companies, right? They don't need the money. They're making a boatload of money. They've never had it so good. A cash machine, one of the bosses of one of the energy giants described it as a company now. It just, the money's just spewing out of them. They don't know what to do with it. There's just so much cash. No, the money goes straight to the energy giant in order that they can be sure of how much income they've got. Because, you know, a lot of poor people who die of cold, they don't pay their bills. So we can't have that. You know, because chief executive officers, they will have already spent, at least mentally, they will have spent their bonuses. So we can't interrupt that flow of money. Meanwhile, in other countries, they're taking a different tack. The cost of living crisis is part of a worldwide problem fueled by COVID, the war in Ukraine, and other factors which are more specific to this country, like Brexit, which, according to the government's own calculations, will harm the economy more than COVID. And, of course, the nature of the people that are leading us. There's that. Abbot.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
We lead the world in getting clowns, hopelessly grasping, entitled clowns to run this country. Ain't that right, Bodger?
I can't comment on that.
I mean, we know what this government is doing to help us. They're making it easier for firms to fire and rehire on worse contracts. They're keeping the tax on capital gains low, which pleases the rich, because that's where they get their money, capital gains, not wages. They're not imposing a windfall tax on the profiteering energy companies, and they're accepting a £2,212 increase to their own pay. That's what they're doing to us. Nothing for us, they're doing it to us. And we're saying, thank you, sir, may we have another? Meanwhile, what are other countries doing? Well, France, for instance. That's so near we can see it from here. France has shielded customers from energy price rises by imposing a 4% gap on hikes.
What?
4%. That's all. Our bills are going up by 100%. In France, their bills are going up by 4%. A 100% increase in bills in global go-ahead Britain, a 4% increase in socialist surrender France. Which would you rather be when the bills become due, British or French? On top of that, the French president, Emmanuel Macron, has pledged to subsidise petrol by 15 cents a litre. Meanwhile, fishy Sunak subsidised ours by 5p.
Oh, fabulous.
That's in French France. In Spain, rental increases have been capped at 2%. Fuel will be subsidised by 20 cents a litre until the 30th of June. The government paying 15 cents and the energy companies 5%, which sounds a little bit, just a tiny bit, like some sort of windfall tax. It's also going to cut connection fees and tax excess profits of the energy companies. We aren't doing that because, well, I've no idea, really. Why? Why aren't we doing that? I mean, would you be totally surprised to find a government minister who is responsible for us not putting a windfall tax on the energy companies, a government minister responsible for that? Would you be surprised if they joined the boards of one of those energy companies a couple of months after they ceased to be MPs? I mean, you'd be surprised if none did, wouldn't you? Which is, it's an indication of the rot that seeped through the whole of government under the Artful Bodger. We expect the worst of them in any given situation and are rarely surprised. Eh, Bodge?
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
0345 6060 973. Nottingham. Hello, Richard.
Hi, good, Mummy. You're on form tonight.
Thanks.
No, you had an item on your news at, I think it was 10 o'clock, saying that 5 million people were going to be spending something like 10% of their income on energy bills. I'm a pensioner. I checked mine when I heard that. I'm paying 23.5% of my income on energy bills.
Ooh. Yikes.
And then, of course, then I've got me water, and then I've got the rates on top of that.
Right.
Altogether, it comes to around about 45%.
And do you have rent or more?
No, luckily, I bought my own house when it was relatively cheap.
Right.
And I paid mine off when I retired. So if I got a rent as well, I'd have no chance.
Yeah. Well, have you considered becoming French?
Well, apparently wind's cheaper there.
Everything is cheaper there.
And the other thing was, and this is either going to make you laugh or it's going to get me bored from ever speaking to you again, you asked what car Keir Starmer drives? Mm-hmm. It's an LG BGT.
An LG... See, I think that's absolutely right. All right, thanks a lot, Richard. One of them GTs. There, excellent. On the other hand, this message says Keir Starmer drives a Toyota RAV4. He crashed it into a cyclist while doing a U-turn in 2020. Well, who didn't? He drives a Toyota RAV4. I thought he drove a Brylcreem Bounce. Sheila tweets, I've been looking in fishmongers' windows and I haven't seen a happy fish yet. Huh. What do you think about that, Smug?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Every time I see that bloke sitting there, like, pushing his spectacles up his nose and, like, blinking at the world like he's seeing it for the very first time, I want to, I just want to throw things at the television set. He's like, oh, gosh. It's like, oh, really? Absolutely everything seems to come as a surprise to that bloke. Martin texts, yeah, let's all vote Labour. That will make the difference. Yeah, well done, Martin. Good argument. So forget everything that I've just said. Forget everything that you know about the last 12 years of good governance in this country. And just forget all that because, what about Labour? Morons. We're surrounded by morons. Hey, this is a podcast. This is not a podcast. Now my French has failed me. Ceci n'est pas un podcast. I think that's probably about right. But this show does get made into a podcast and gets put up the internet almost as soon as it's finished. It's called Nick Abbot, The Whole Show, in which we take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity, and you still won't be able to pay your fuel bill. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. Nick Abbot, The Whole Show. It's available on Global Player. But what's great that's not available on Global Player? That's available for Android and iNus. Those iNus people? Those iNuses? Global Player. You should get it, definitely. Trust me.
Got a good, your mind is a little bit, three-dimensional.
I have no idea what you mean, hippie. 4.9 million people, over 4.9 million, have got the dreaded mad bat disease. That's almost 5 million people. I think that's approximately 1 in 10 of us. Good grief. Now, why might that be, apart from the government told us to go out and, mingle? All it takes is one little mutation, and then we're all going to get sent back inside again.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Sam says it was, is, and always will be Jeremy Corbyn's fault. No! Thanks a lot, Jeremy Corbyn. You see what you've done? Joe says, British politics is fascinating. If the Tories are that bad, then Labour must be really bad if they're not the ones being elected into power. I don't think it has much to do with the various qualities of the different parties. I think it's all about dinghy spotting, or it was last time around. Vote for us, and we'll protect you from people that don't talk, walk, and squawk exactly like you do. I mean, it's a great offering, and it pretty much always works wherever any political party has the nerve to offer it. We know you hate people that don't look, talk, walk and squawk exactly like you do. We hate them too. Vote for us. And we think, yeah, that's right, I'll vote for you. And you can protect me from those people. This tide of evil others that are coming to take my biscuits. Bernadette texts, what are your thoughts on the Oscars and Will Smith? Well, my thoughts are, A, that there was a pretty mean joke. I mean, the woman's got alopecia, her hair's falling out. Although you see her head, the bristle part where you see where her hair would be, that seems full. But I'm not going to dispute her assertion that she had to shave her head because her hair's falling out. So that was a bit of a mean joke. But on the other hand, Will Smith seems to have lost his mind a little bit. And then with the blubbering on stage. Oh, really? You think God had a hand in you winning a present for pretending to be somebody else for money? God had a hand in it? Really? The invisible space wizard? Personally intervened so you could win a statuette? Whereas he, she, or it totally ignored 300 children sheltering in the basement of a theatre and allowed them to be killed. That's because God was too busy trying to figure out who he, she, or it wanted to win an Oscar. These people are crazy. Same as with footballers. Whenever they thank God for allowing them to score a late penalty, please. Steve texts, I spent all day yesterday trying to log on to declare my gas meter reading. Apparently, if I type in the numbers in order, I can get extra pounds. I can't wait for October, he said.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
Extra points for getting it in order.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
I just said that. Oh, boy, it really is just the... It's just the old faithful, one after the next. Ranjit, Oldbury.
Hi, Nick.
Yes, Ranjit.
Okay, can I just talk about something else?
What, is this off... Are we off script now?
No, not off script. It's about what you're really talking about. I wanted to talk about Rishi Sunak and what I think he's going to do, but listening to what you've just been on about, I've changed my mind. Yesterday, somebody put on Facebook that they was really fed up of not having people who are English on the TV adverts, right?
What?
Okay. So
wait a minute, back up. So somebody who said it?
Somebody who I know, right?
Right, somebody Facebook, you know said that they are upset with foreign faces on TV ads.
I'm a nutcase.
Who?
It went like, this is England, and why isn't the advert English? Right. So I said, can you define English? Englishness, yeah?
Yeah, I can define it. I know what he meant.
Go on.
White people.
Yeah, I wanted to avoid that, right? So somebody said, Indigenous people and their children are from this country. So I put on there, I was like, and they are not the invaders, right? Okay. So I put on there, I was born in this country, my children are born in this country, my grandson's born in this country. When will he be English, right?
Right.
So somebody else replied, if I went to India, will I be Indian? I said, that's not the point. And then there was going on about invaders and changing everybody's culture. So I'm of Sikh origin. So, yes, I was laughing. I put on there, so Sikhs are quite okay to fight for Britain and everything else, donate food all around the world for the pandemic and still keep their culture, which is about charity and helping the underprivileged. Yeah. So
yeah, but I think that what he meant was, the clothes and the music. You look different. You sound different. You are different, and different is evil in these people's minds.
Nick, you're quite, not you, but they're quite happy for us to fight for them. They're quite happy for us to feed them when they're hungry. Yeah. But yeah. And then what I said was, okay, let's go back to the invaders. I said, I think you are offsprings of the invaders. I said, because the real people of Great Britain was the Welsh and the Anglo-Saxons invaded. Yeah. Are you
the real people of Great Britain were the Welsh?
Yeah, something like that I read somewhere. Right. And then this post was removed by the author.
Right.
So what's happening in this country?
I have no idea, Ranjit.
Are they going to divide us even more now? Right?
They're going to build a wall. A huge wall. It's going to be a fantastic wall.
Nick, I'm listening. Somebody, because I detest...
everything.
Donald Trump, yeah? Right. Someone bought me a pen today. Right, I'm just going to play it to you.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.
He's given me this to put on there, and he's got about 7 different messages.
I'm president. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
I've just sent him a message. I says, I'm going to put this on my desk to remind me what a politician shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that all over the world, politics has gone down the drain. But going back to Rishi Sunak...
Oh, blimey, it's a massive circle now, back to where we started.
Does he listen to you? I would say to him, don't pee on my back and tell me it's raining, because that's what he's doing to all of us.
Right.
They are really taking us for fools at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what?
Justifiably so, because we keep voting them in over and over again, despite what they do to us. Thank you, sir. May we have another, we say.
Yeah, so who's to actually blame for all this that's going on?
You? Me?
That's it.
Jeremy Corbyn. It's Jeremy Corbyn's fault. Here, that sounds like an excellent pen there, Ranjit. I expect that you want to write words with it.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
Oh, the stuff he knows about stuff. You wouldn't believe it.
I know nothing.
0345 6060 973. Sheila says, I would really like to know why the first fines of Partygate have been sent out to junior civil servants. Why not just start at the top? Surely those are the ones that organised them. The juniors just went as they thought that's what the people in charge required them to do. Yes, isn't that right, Bodge? Yes. Absolutely. Maybe a trial run. They're just throwing the civil servants out first to see if they get mauled to death by the crowd. And when it seems to be safe enough, then they'll start, doling out the big fines to the big beasts of the farmyard.
Peppa Pig World. Peppa Pig World is it has Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig is the right answer. Very good, Bodger. The stuff that man can keep in his mind. It's just incredible. When, during the whole COVID nightmare, they were naming and shaming people that got fines. You remember that? Now, it's a oh, God. I've just walked myself down a cul-de-sac and I don't know how to get out of it. This happens about once a show. Maybe there's something wrong with me.
Correct.
I forgot what I was talking about now. Oh, God, what was I talking about? Don't say I was going to take a break. He was going to say I was going to take a break. Like I need to lie down. Everything is under control here. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. I'll remember what I was talking about during the course of this break.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
This says Nick was talking about people receiving fines for not being named. Correctamundo. About receiving fines not being named. See, I even got that wrong. I even got that wrong. I even got the thing where I said that I even got that wrong. Nick was talking about people receiving fines for not being named. That's right. Apparently it's a matter of national security that we are not to know the names of the people who have been fined, particularly his bodgeness.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
He said that he's going to tell us if he does get a fine. Liar! Yeah, well, first off, I don't believe it. And second off, I don't believe it either. And third, if that is the case, then he is going to move heaven and earth to avoid getting a fine. Any excuse, every excuse will be looked up. I bet they've got teams of lawyers right now poring over the books at our expense just to make absolutely sure that his imperial bodgeness gets away scot-free. Betcha. And as I said, at the time, people were being named and shamed. Do you remember those two nice ladies that went for a walk? I can't remember where it was now. Walk in a park during the absolute peak of the pandemic. Went for a walk in a park with a couple of coffees. Not each, like one each. Oh, no. They were in Derbyshire, apparently. They were in Derbyshire and they got arrested by the law for going on a walk outside with a cup of coffee each, because apparently a cup of coffee constitutes a picnic.
What?
That's what they said. Yeah, you were picnicking. Sure. Yeah, here's a fine. Pay this and thank us later. Meanwhile, the regime wants their shenanigans shrouded in secrecy. For our benefit. Appreciate it, Bodger.
Thank you.
I know that you have our best interests at heart. Tom tweets, we've just been watching a TV programme called The Secret Life of Farm Animals, which showed without doubt that the Gloucester Old Spot Pig is more intelligent, compassionate and inclined to share than the average Tory. Well, that's just rude. And here is a man with the numbers to disprove that.
86%, 5 million, and of course, over 50%. And what I'm saying is...
Yeah, sure. Keep saying it. It just fills the air with noise and numbers. And the 5 billion is added to the 123 billion. And don't forget that 63% of the 5 billion that I previously talked about, and oh, Jesus, with the numbers, please. It's a lot of sound signifying nothing. Abingdon. Hello, Dean. Dean. Oh, Dino. Oh, Dino. Dino. Too late. 0345 6060 973. St Ives. Hello, Brenda.
Hi, Nick.
Brenda.
Hello.
Brenda.
I was just thinking about that couple of girls that were up in Derbyshire having a nice walk and got fined £200, I think,
Was
each.
it? Right.
So my question is, why have these civil servants or these junior advisors only been fined £50 when I thought the minimum was £200 and the maximum was £10,000? That is an absolute slap in the face to us. £50 is like, what, 1p to them. It's disgraceful. They should have been at least fined at least £500 each.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how much a civil servant earns, particularly a lowly one, like a low-level grunt.
They earn a reasonable salary.
Yes, they do. Yeah, no doubt about that.
So that's a complete whitewash.
Well, I expect we are being buttered up for the bigger whitewash to come, which is that Bodge won't want to pay a single penny in fines.
The taxpayer will pay his fine.
I have no doubt that is true. Either that or, some passing Russian will do him a favour.
We pay their utility energy bills, so a fine is about, we'll just add to the other bit that we pay.
Just stick it on the expenses, exactly.
Of course they will, yes. Yeah. Happy days.
All right.
We're all laughing here in the freezing cold.
Yeah, well, you got to have a laugh. Incha.
While you're laughing.
All right, thanks a lot, Brenda. Another satisfied customer. Paul texts, I think it's terrible those junior civil servants had a party around Boris Johnson. Luckily for them, he did not notice, as other people are peripheral and immaterial. Yeah, he just sees straight through other people. Like a psychopath. I'm not saying he is a psychopath. I'm saying he's like a psychopath. Because if he was a psychopath, then he'd just keep lying all the time.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to believe a single word he says about anything if he was a psychopath. So that can't be true. Oh 0345 6060 973. He does see straight through other people. Other people are peripheral, absolutely, and immaterial. Completely correct in every respect. He is only interested in his own sticky-fingered pleasure.
Disgusting.
Janice texts, people who used to give to food banks will now be going there themselves. Well, yeah, that's true. It's not funny, and it's true. Let's have a call in... let's try this bloke again. Abingdon. Hello, Dean.
Hello, Nick.
Dean.
Good evening to you.
Dean.
Nick, I want to talk about the triple lock on pensions.
Yes.
I think it should be reinstated. I was listening to LBC on Monday, on Nick's show, I think it was, and one of the ministers, the lady minister, come on and said, the triple lock has been reinstated.
Has it?
And no, it hasn't. But she actually said it's been reinstated.
Wow.
And Nick didn't know, so he obviously didn't chase it up, sort of thing, you know.
This is what they do. In an interview, it's impossible to check what they say live. So they can say anything they like and get away with it, because by the time you've checked what they've said is not true, they've gone and told another 20 lies on another station.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's exactly what Donald Trump did. In every respect, this government can be viewed, its actions can be viewed through the prism of what would Donald Trump do, which is the worst thing in any given situation.
Don't be rude.
It's true, Donnie. Well, that shut you up, didn't it?
That shut me up.
Well, apparently, yeah.
I was just amazed at him coming on.
Oh, yeah. Well, every now and again, he'll burst in here. Yeah.
I thought I was in the wrong country for a minute.
Just for a moment there.
No,
yeah.
but I think it should be reinstated, Nick, because that would be a lot of pensioners. I'm okay, let's put it like that, but I'm only just about managing. When this rise comes in today, I don't know how much it's going to be yet, and that's the one that's going to sink me.
Well, I know I mention this frequently, Dean, but it is pensioners that got Boris Johnson into number 10. If you take the pensioner vote out, we would not have left the European Union, and Jeremy Corbyn would have been our Prime Minister.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
they don't know. I mean,
apparently they knew what they were voting for, which seems a bit weird.
Well, I voted for Labour anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dean. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Gordon says, did Boris Johnson fail upwards? That's what some say about Kamala Harris in the US. Impressive resume on paper, but disappointing in practice. It's a good concept. Perform badly in a whole series of jobs, but be promoted each time all the way to the top. Does that happen? Well, there's the phenomenon, the name of which escapes me. Some bright spark will be bashing it as a text into their phone right now. But it's you do okay at a job and then you get promoted. And then you do okay at the next job and you get promoted. And then you do badly in that job and then you just stay where you are. So everybody gets promoted to their position of inability, which gives you a kind of a clue as to why we are in this mess. Hey, Bodge. Yes. Andy says, if it was this bad in France, every city, town and probably village would have people demonstrating on the streets. We are cap-doffing English that just get on with it. Well, our national slogan is "Mustn't grumble," which you only say after having grumbled for about 3 hours straight. Still, mustn't grumble. Dave says, following this budget, Sunak borrowed a Kia Rio off some unsuspecting guy, presumably because that's his next intended holiday destination. Rio. Oh, he's gone to California, hasn't he? California. Where he has one of his many, many homes, of course. He got cruelly pulled away from it last December. He had to come back and, do his job. If that is indeed what that is that he does. Posing for endless promo shots. He's like a model at the Grattan catalogue, for crying out loud. He does money on the side. Camden, hello, Ellie. Ellie. Oh, Ellie.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, Ellie.
Hello, Nick. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Thank you so much for making me giggle.
Well, thanks for saying that, Ellie.
It makes me laugh. Thank you so much. It really means a lot, given the general state of
Yeah, given
play.
the everything, yeah.
Yeah, the second point I want to make is that those ladies who were fined, their fine was withdrawn after Mr. Johnson.
Oh.
Mr. Johnson had cycled several miles outside of the zone which he had inflicted upon us. And so to make up for it, rather than being prosecuted, they withdrew the ladies' fines.
Right.
I just thought I'd point this out. And I have a question.
Yes.
Why is Boris Johnson?
Why is Boris Johnson? That's going to be the topic from now until the end of time, Ellie. Excellent question. Cheers,
Can I
my dear.
leave it at that?
Yes, you can. Yeah, that's a full stop right there. Thanks a lot, Ellie. Why is Boris Johnson? Think about it. And text, there are thousands of millionaires in the UK who belong to a group called Patriotic Millionaires. They want to pay more tax to alleviate the current situation, but the government won't allow it. You're funny, Anne. Give me the name of one of them. I'll make this really simple for you. Just one, that's all. They could, of course, donate the money if they wished, if they really, really want to. They could write us all a cheque. David tweets, Fishy Sunak was grilled by the Treasury Select Committee. He pretended to be one of the people by saying he drives a VW Golf. Oh, please. Turns out he also owns a Range Rover, a BMW and a Lexus. And that's just in this country. He probably keeps the roller for, California. Open top Rolls Royce. Of course. No doubt. For the transportation of his fishiness. What have we done? I'd like to know, what have we done to deserve this? Because it must have been terrible. We should be very ashamed of ourselves. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Look at the time. Blimey. Doesn't time fly when you're out your mind? It's 11:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Andy Ivey.
So they opened their big mouths and out came talk. Talk.
So this was apparently coming out of Davos. You know, where they these grey-suited individuals meet in secret to carve up the world between themselves like James Bond baddies. No! This is a couple of months old now, this report in the Super Soaraway Guardian. More than 100 members of the global super-rich called on Wednesday for governments around the world to tax us now to help pay for the pandemic response and tackle the gulf between rich and poor. Yeah, right. Oh, please. As millionaires, we know that the current tax system is not fair, they said in an open letter published in January. Most of us can say that while the world has gone through an immense amount of suffering in the last 2 years, we've actually seen our wealth rise during the pandemic. Yes, they have. If you're a millionaire, then you've done really well. If you're a billionaire, then it's off the scale fantastic. COVID has been just great for millionaires and billionaires, but they say they want to pay a little bit more, or, some, in a lot of cases. And I would bet virtually all of them employ accountants in big shiny buildings to make absolutely certain that their affairs are efficient in every way, shape and form. Efficient. Lewisham. Hello, Jane.
Hello, Nick.
Jane. Yes, Jane.
I voted for Nigel Farage.
What do you want to do that for?
Well, if he was running the country, it wouldn't be like this at all.
You can say that again.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
Yes.
Shut up. Nick, do you think that Nigel knows of the motoring party.co.uk?
The motoring party?
.co.uk. He could help the motoring party.
.co.uk.
Yes.
Yeah. Who are they then?
Yeah, he would.
Who are they? Who are they?
Look them up.
I will not do anything of the sort. Tell me who they are.
Why not?
Because that's homework. I don't do homework at the weekend. But, miss, it's the weekend.
We'll do that on Monday then.
Yeah, OK, I'll pencil it in on Monday. Excellent work there, Jane. Thanks a lot for, whatever that was. Now I've got Nigel's page up. I could play the clip. Do you want to hear the clip? Oh, OK then.
I'm immensely grateful to you for everything you've done in British politics over the last few years. I used to be an ardent Remainer. I voted Remain. I believed in the European project.
Mm-hmm.
I believed that staying in the European Union was the best thing for us. And then something happened, and something monumental happened. It completely changed my opinion on the whole situation.
What was that monumental thing, Mark?
I was kicked in the head by a horse.
Right, very good. OK, fine. Thank you.
No, thank you, Nige. You're the best. How did you get taken like that?
We are thick, we are stupid.
OK, then. Everything about that clip is perfect. The guy's timing, whoever he is, he should be a paid professional, a comic professional. The Peter Principle is apparently the name of the thing that I was describing some moments ago, where you get elevated to a position of inability. I don't think it is. I think it's something else, isn't it? But the thing is, we'll never know, sadly, ever. Let's have a call. In or on? I really don't know. Isle of Wight. Is it in or on, Billy?
Well, to quote you, Nick, how big does an island have to be before you're on it rather than in it?
Yeah.
I think it's on the Isle of Wight, Nick. Personally.
On the island, that does seem to fit, yeah.
Yeah, whereas there's a town on the Isle of Wight called Newport, so I can be in Newport on the Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
It's really weird, isn't it? It's like on the Isle of Wight, I never say I'm going uptown. I'm always going downtown, regardless of where it is.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Regardless of the topography.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very posh word,
isn't it? Just
I
just pulled that one right out of the air.
Oh goodness, Nick! I called up because your lovely producer put me through to you because I wanted to speak to you about Fishy Rishi, and also all the other MPs, Nick, because what is it with them? They are all so out of touch, all of them.
Yes.
I don't understand. I think we're the only country other than America where we vote for people that are nothing like us. I mean, Jacob Rees-Mogg. Yeah, I've got nothing against the bloke as an individual. I'd probably have a pint. No, actually, I wouldn't. I'd take that back. I wouldn't have a pint with him. No, I wouldn't. What on earth possesses the minds of the residents in North East Somerset to vote for it?
It's absolutely mystifying. And they didn't just do it once. It's not like a mistake out of the blue. It's not an error. They did it over and over and over again. Why?
What is it that they can relate to with him? I mean, I can hardly see him being sympathetic towards, sort of a poor mother who's got to pay for, all of her electricity bills and stuff.
Of course not.
It just doesn't work like that, does it? How can somebody like Jacob Rees-Mogg or Rishi Sunak sympathise with, a woman who's single with 3 or 4 kids who's struggling or deciding, whether to put the heating on or to cook the food? Now, I'm not a millionaire.
No, just think, what would Jesus do? And then Jacob Rees-Mogg would do the opposite of that in every circumstance, while saying that he's guided by his faith.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I've heard him on Good Morning Britain, I think, a few years ago. So the complete hypocrisy that comes out of his mouth, it is staggering. And I will say this as well. That interview that James O'Brien did, that was just brilliant to watch. I mean, it was just fantastic. I watched the video and I watched it again about a month ago.
Which one?
It was about 23 minutes long. And
was it with Smug?
James O'Brien. Sorry?
With Smug?
Yeah, Jacob Rees-Mogg, yeah. And it was brilliant.
Well, I think my favourite political interview, maybe of all time, is James O'Brien versus Nigel Farage, where Uncle Nige was getting more and more irate, and he was becoming undone. And James O'Brien, as Farage got louder, James O'Brien just sort of got quieter, and managed to unpick him molecule by molecule. It was just absolutely fantastic.
Oh, it was. I've watched it honestly. I watched it, I think, about 3 months ago as well, and it's a perfect watch. It's how you completely dismantle ridiculous ideologies. And I remember there was a bit in there, Nick, where you're probably going to know the bit I'm talking about, where I think it's to do with a member of UKIP saying something racist or something, or like employing, I don't know, I think it was illegal immigrants. And I think James O'Brien asked Nigel, when's the investigation going to happen, Nigel? And he sort of said, well, as soon as possible. And then James O'Brien turns around and says, this happened 4 years ago.
Well, time ticks at a different level in politics.
The arguments that UKIP stands for aren't valid.
Well, it's a bold claim, Nige, particularly from you, but if you say so, I'll have to defer to the expert in this regard. Thanks a lot, Billy. 0345 6060 973. And texts. Oh, no, that's the thousands of millionaires in the UK who belong to a group called Patriotic Millionaires. They want to pay more tax to alleviate the current situation, but the government won't allow it. Anybody believe that?
No.
Not really. Not really, no. They could do something about it if they really, really wanted to. It is weird that the more money you get, the more you are desperate to cling on to it and acquire more of it. It's bizarre. I mean, you'd think if you had, say, 100 million quid in the bank, like if you had $1 million, then you could chew through that pretty quick. You know, you just have to eat in the wrong place and go to the wrong shop and get a cocaine habit, for instance. And you could chew through £1 million, pretty quick. Just ask any rock and roller.
Rock and roll!
But if you had 100 million quid in the bank, you'd think that you just stop worrying about money. But they don't. They seem to worry about it all the more. And I go back to my assertion about it's not the percentage that's levied on somebody's earnings or wealth that's the thing. It's the amount that percentage is levied on. If you earn 10 million quid a year and the tax rate is 10%, you're going to have to write a cheque for £1 million. Nobody wants to do that. So they'll do anything they can to avoid doing it, regardless of what the income tax rate is. So when you hear people saying, oh, well, it would be much, much better if it was, if we taxed them less, then they'd avoid less. No, they wouldn't. Not at all. Even if it was 1%, they'd still do everything in their power not to have to write that cheque. Are you kidding me? Icky tweets, I just don't get this. Why aren't we talking about a mass refusal to pay our energy bills? If a handful of people do this, they'll just cut us off. But if half their customers do it, they'll do the fastest 180 you ever saw. That is true, Icky. That is correct. Yes, they would. It's like if you owe the bank 50 quid, then you're in trouble. If you owe the bank 50 million quid, they're in trouble. 0345 6060 973. Hey, you know what? There's a podcast called The Nick Abbot Habit, and it comes out on Mondays. It's a half an hour of best-ofs. Now, I'm doing the shows from about 2 years ago at the moment, and we are just at the very foothills. We just heard about this, the mad bat disease, which was coming over from China. And it was all a bit... It was a little bit scary, but it was a little bit amusing as well, because the it of it hadn't quite crushed us yet. We weren't being sent indoors with, no supper. It's just the funny bits that I pull out and stick out as a half-hour podcast. If you want to just check out of this news nightmare that has been engulfing us for the past at least a couple of months now. Actually, it's a couple of years, isn't it? It's maybe 12 years. I think it's about 12 years now. And you just can't stand it anymore and you just want to be amused, then I think it'll be right up your alley. Ask for it by name on an internet near you, The Nick Abbot Habit.
Now, wait a minute. I don't like that kind of talk. Now, just stop it. It upsets me.
0345 6060 973. Let's have Glasgow. Clicking. There it is. Hello, Carolyn.
Hello there. Hi, Nick.
Hello.
Hello. You've got my accent to a T. I was going to ask you, was that woman serious about Nigel Farage being in charge? Please tell me she was joking. She could have been serious.
I don't know. I didn't wait around long enough to find out.
Oh, please. But anyway, I have to tell you, this morning I was listening. I was driving, actually, to work, and I was listening to James O'Brien, and a woman called Sarah called in, and she was just talking about how things are difficult for her, about her family, and how she was having to use hot water bottles to heat her kids, and her kids are the most important thing to her. And, do you know, I had to pull over in the car because I was in tears. I couldn't stop crying. And I was so distraught by listening to her. I mean, I'm lucky I've got a good job. My husband has, daughter at university. But I'm absolutely ashamed. I'm ashamed of our government. I mean, obviously in Scotland, we've got the Scottish government. But I'll tell you something, I've never been a independent person and wanting independence, but people now, Boris Johnson has done more for the independence cause than anything.
Yeah.
It's horrendous. But then I hear people like Zara, and I don't want independence to abandon people like her. Do you know what I mean? I want to help people like her. And I just feel absolutely, I was so distraught today. And when I went to work, I was telling people in work, and everybody understands. They say, it's just, the country is just in a mess just now.
Yeah.
And I hope she's listening. I know she might not be, but, oh God, we just want to help. We just want to help. And I don't mind. I want to pay more tax. I don't mind paying more tax to help people. And the fact that they think we don't want to pay more tax is absolute nonsense.
Well, it's something that they rely on as a vote winner. So it actually isn't nonsense, because when it actually comes down to it, even if people will say, oh, I would rather a more equal society where we, the well-off, earn a little bit less in order to spread the wealth around people who are really, really suffering. That sounds good until you actually take people's money away from them. And even if it's a small amount, directly, even if they would indirectly receive more than they lose, because of the spreading around and a more equal society, they still will say, no, I want to keep more of my money. And that's exactly what the Tories will do next time around. And they'll keep going on about this war on woke thing, because that's a winner for them. Anybody that's different to you, they're going to make you fearful of. The dinghy thing will come back, and we know what they're going to do because it works every time.
Well, they're going to lose Scotland. I'll just tell you that now, because they're going to lose Scotland, because I can see it. I mean, my husband is totally anti-independence, and even he's now saying, I can't put up with this much longer. So this is what's going to happen. And I think it's terrifying. It's terrifying because, again, I don't, we've got friends in the north as well. It's horrible times. And I really hope, I don't know, I'm hoping for a miracle. That's all I can say.
Well, don't hold your breath. But thanks for that, Carolyn. 0345 6060 973. Holding out for a miracle, which will not be arriving anytime soon. There having been none like ever. I mean, if there were, then we'd know about it, right? Sanj texts, the Tories had a party on Tuesday. Did you see Michael Fabricant acting like some big kid saying how they haven't seen each other for nearly 2 years and they're going to have some wine and food and fun?
Booze.
Yeah, I did. I just can't stop wondering about that bloke's... Is it hair or plastic, or what is that on his head? Either it's the world's worst wig. I mean, somebody must know. Is it his hair or is it a wig? Or is it... Did he have an accident with one of those cans of squirty cream? But why would a grown-up go out looking like that? It's just mystifying, isn't it? What's going on there? Bob tweets, it could have been oh so different if Labour had voted in the right Miliband. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the other one is smoother. He just got that sort of white dot of hair right in front of his head, which I find very suspicious. Like an alien. But he's a bit smoother than the other one, than Ed. But I'm not sure smooth is what we are after at the moment. We've got no end of sticky-fingered smoothies, Bodge? Yeah. All revved up and ready to go. Selzy. Hello, Maxine.
Hello.
Oh, Struth, you're loud.
How are you, Mud? I ain't spoken to you for ages.
Haven't I been lucky?
I like to leave it a little while so you get excited when I do phone up. Now,
okay.
The last time I spoke to you, I was telling you about the pigeons in the tree that had babies.
Yeah, I remember that. You had pigeons. Yeah, you had pigeons outside your tree, and they were, and they had Babies.
Babies, a little baby squab, and you looked at the picture and you said it was horrendous.
Very, very ugly babies.
Yeah, no,
pigeons.
they're nice. Now, guess what now? My father-in-law, he's 88, and he's built me a hedgehog house, right?
What, to live in?
Not for me, no. I don't live in. I live in my house, no, for a hedgehog.
Okay, so that makes sense, yeah.
Right, so he's built me a hedgehog house, and he's down the end of my garden, right, and we got this big fat hedgehog that wanders around the garden, and I take it out food every night. Lovely hedgehog.
What does it eat?
Look, I've got a packet of hedgehog food. They eat little pellets.
Hedgehog food? There's no such thing.
Yes, there is. I've got a bag of it here. It's little pellets. You give the hedgehogs.
Are you sure they're not hedgehog-flavoured crisps?
No, they're little pellets, hedgehog food.
Okay,
I'll
then.
go out and buy them a bag, £2.49. I'll spend that.
It's
So I'll
not.
go
It's
out
not a
and anyway.
hedgehog that has been pelletised.
No, it's a hedgehog with the prickles and the four legs. You know what a hedgehog looks like.
Well, I
don't
do
you?
know what a hedgehog looks like, but I can't imagine if they, if they heated it, and they dried it out, and then they put it through a machine that makes pellets out of it. Are you sure it's not pellets
out of the hedgehog.
made
They
out of hedgehogs?
No, it's hedgehog food.
It's
you know, you buy
hedgehog-
dog and
right.
cat food.
It's not
This is
made.
hedgehog
It's
food.
not food made of hedgehogs. It's food
No,
for
it's made for hedgehogs.
hedgehogs. Right. Okay.
You're trying to start a debate here now, wouldn't you? I know your game, my love. Right, now, anyway,
Yeah. And in closing,
I said to him, I goes, look, can you do me a little latch so I can lift the roof up on his little house?
yeah. Why?
I had a look today.
Mm-hmm.
I got 3 hoglets.
Oh, really? So it's been
3 baby hedgehogs.
it's been out having a hot hedgehog interface with another one.
Disgusting. Well, no, I
In
call
your-
it moving.
in
no,
your-
I call it moving cuddles, my darling.
Right.
Moving cuddles
Yeah.
you're having during the night.
In your garden? Oh.
In my garden of all places now. So I've got little baby hedgehogs, so I go out and feed them overnight. And you know what? My dog, Barney, I've got a little dog, a Bichon Frise.
Is that a yappy dog?
No, it's not.
It sounds like a yappy dog to me.
No, he's not a yappy dog. He's
Okay,
lovely. He
then.
was my mum's. God rest her soul. She
Got
passed
about
away many years ago.
15 seconds.
Is that all I got?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to ask you a question.
Go on.
You know the Will Smith debacle?
Yes.
If his wife had got up and slapped him, what do you think would have happened?
I think that people would have been okay with that, generally.
Please hold the line. I'm trying to connect you.
At the moment, I'm trying to connect Maria in Hammersmith. Maria?
Hello.
Maria?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Maria.
Right. Well, I was saying that Rishi Sunak goes to the States to sell the NHS. He was meeting at Christmas, just before Christmas, he was meeting with health companies. And there is a GP who's written a book, not a very thick book, relating all this, that the government is selling the NHS to American companies. Different companies are interested in different parts of the NHS.
Yeah, I bet they are.
And this,
When you said it's not a very thick book, did you have me in mind?
I haven't. Pardon. What?
You're selling it to me based on the lack of pages. I'm taking that as an insult.
No, it's not a very thick book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, not a very thick book. Even a moron like me could pay attention to get through it.
No, right. No, I haven't seen the book myself, but I know it's on the internet.
Right.
I've forgotten the title, you know.
That's okay.
The title
I'm not going to read it anyway.
The title is very interesting.
Is it?
Yes, but I can't remember the
Can't
title.
remember it. Oh, well.
Was either Terminal Decline or something
Yeah,
like
something
that?
like that. That sounds like the NHS. Terminal decline.
Listen, this is very
Important.
because the ministers are not talking about it. This GP is dismayed. He says, how is it the ministers are not talking about when they are discussing it in meetings regularly. You know, they
don't want to tell us about it.
Right, and he also accused the media of being supine and complicit.
Yeah, that's about right.
Because the Mirror could be reporting it, for example, and nobody's saying anything.
Nobody's saying anything at all, no.
Are you taking the mickey out of me?
No, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying, but but there might be a hint of mickey taking, but not a lot. No, I'm in agreement with what it is that you're telling me. Yeah, I do believe that they're trying to. Where we're going is the American healthcare model, which is the worst healthcare model in the Western world.
Terrible.
Yeah,
I am a victim of it. I am being treated by Connect Health.
Well, no. We can't get into what company is treating you, but the American model is where we're going. Absolutely, in everything really. And the American model is winner takes all. In evil socialist Europe, particularly in the Scandi countries, they tend to spread the wealth about a bit more. And the result is happier people. And I know I keep going on about HAPPY-ness, and it does seem like a superficial thing to talk about, but what's the point of life if it's not to maximise your happiness? Nobody ever on their deathbed thought, God, I wish I'd changed my car more often. Do they? It's, I wish I had more time. I wish I could have done more pleasant things instead of just furiously being on the hamster wheel. The hamster wheel of life. Running furiously, getting nowhere. And what they do in other countries, they spread the wealth about a bit for the benefit of all, which creates a happier country. In this country, however, under the current leadership, we're going the American route on pretty much everything, which is, if you are rich, you're just fine. If you're not, good luck to you. And particularly with the healthcare, I mean, that we're going away from the European model, which was, pretty much our model for the longest time, and we're going towards the American model of excellent healthcare, if you can afford it, and absolutely nothing at all. We'll call you up to put you on a waiting list. To go on a waiting list, to see a doctor who will put you on a waiting list. That's our future. Anyway, thanks a lot, Maria, and I hope you get your issue sorted. Sue texts, when they say we have the 5th biggest economy in the world, is that good? Why have we got such a financial problem with such a big debt? Well, I see the answer I gave some moments ago about spreading the wealth around. Never mind if we've got the 5th biggest economy in the world, if none of us can actually access some of the wealth that is created to make that so. I mean, you walk through some of the postcodes in London, and the people there got so much money, it's virtually pouring out the bricks. They got so much cash. But none of it's landing on us, so it doesn't make no difference. The result is that everything is more expensive because there's way more millionaires than there used to be, and the millionaires have increased the value of their assets massively over the past few years. But none of it's landing on us. Trickle-down economics doesn't work. Sienna text, David Beckham and Southgate should be out of pitch long time ago. Both are weak. What? David Beckham and Southgate should be out of pitch long time ago. Both are weak, says Sienna. Well, I've got no idea what that means. What's David Beckham got to do with Gareth Southgate? The manager. I mean, David Beckham's just a walking advert now. What does he actually do? Just shows up and smiles and collects tattoos. What's he for anymore? But he used to be a thing. And Gareth Southgate is, I don't know, seems to be a decent enough bloke, I suppose. Pamela texts, I dream of me and Donald Trump playing golf. That's great. That's great, Pamela. I wish you all the best for that. Jean says, not only did Will Smith thank God for his award, but he also blamed the devil for making him hit Chris Rock. Oh, come on. What is it with these people? How can you be so self-obsessed that you think that God, who sat out the Holocaust, is going to personally intervene to make you win a present for pretending to be someone else for $10 million? How can you be that self-obsessed? It's mystifying to me, it really is. I just don't get it. How can you arrive at that position in life? Diana says, I was watching Question Time last night when somebody said that doctors were using food banks. If that's true, then we're all screwed as they have good salaries. Yes, they do. Doctors are using food banks. Well, that doesn't seem right. It'll be MPs using food banks next. That'll never happen. Although, while pulling in a six-figure government and MP salary, a senior minister complained that the cost of living crisis was making life tricky for his family. And which insensitive gaslighting oaf might that be? Step forward, the actual policing minister, Kit Malthouse. He bemoaned the cost of oil to heat his family home in rural Hampshire on the day that MPs received a £2,212 pay rise. And to put that in perspective, £2,212 is about a 10% pay rise for the average earner in his constituency. Are you getting a 10% rise, you residents of North West Hampshire?
No.
Of course not. He conducted a series of media interviews working from his luxury home, all toasty warm, in front of a log fire. And he admitted that energy prices, which kicked in today, are going to make life tough for millions of Britons. But, of course, he defended to Chancellor Rishi Sunak over his handling of the economy. So he's concerned to show that he's concerned about us, just not concerned enough to actually say or do anything about it. Just another nodding dog. They all sound the same. The Prime Minister has made it very clear that... And then numbers and spurious assertions.
86%, 5 million, and of course, over 50%. And what I'm saying is...
Yeah, over and over and over again. And that doesn't count the 5 billion that I previously mentioned and the 38% of the 125 billion that we promised last year, and just numbers and numbers and numbers. Painful. MP salaries rise to £84,144, up by 2.7%. The Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority announced that last month. What an absolute nonsense that organisation is. The Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority. I mean, they're about as useless as the Financial Conduct Authority. I mean, both names seem to have been chosen as a joke. There are no standards in Parliament. If the Prime bloomin' Minister can lie and lie and lie and be told that he's lying by his own government departments and then just go back out and lie again. What standards is it that they're overseeing exactly? And as for the Financial Conduct Authority, I mean, they're supposed to oversee conduct in the financial finagling racket. It's like saying the mafia have a standards and ethics department.
Absolutely.
So the actual policing minister, Kit Malthouse, complained that the cost of living crisis was making life tricky for his family. And he's on £84,144 a year, plus his ministerial salary for, excellence in being himself, which puts him on £115,824 a year.
What?
£115,000 a year. That's about 5 times what the average poor dope who pays taxes gets. And that's not the it of it, of course. There's plenty more money where that came from. And on the same day that the biggest jump in domestic energy bills in living memory came into effect, and days before national insurance contributions are going to increase by 1.25 percentage points, the Conservative MP for North West Hampshire, on a six-figure salary plus $250,000 in expenses, is asking for our sympathy.
Stop whining.
People who can't afford it are bracing for a £1,600 hit to their income. A record rise in energy bills started already. It kicks off a year of economic pain. The energy price cap is going to jump from 1,277 to 1,971. That's an increase of about 700 quid. And it's going to be up over £700 in October, they're guessing. So it'll be a 100% increase in all. And inflation hits levels not seen for 30 years. Millions of workers are bracing for a hike in national insurance contributions. And Kit Malthouse, the actual policing minister, said there was hope that inflation would recede shortly and that the Chancellor was studying the impact of the cost of living crisis. There's hope that inflation would recede. You hear that? Of course, it also might increase. What does he know? And as for Fishy studying the impact, what, like people study fish in a bowl, maybe? He'll peer at us with binoculars from behind the guarded gates of one of his mansions, see how we're doing with no heat or food. It'd be like a science experiment. Just a little amusement for him. He'll be studying us, see what happens. And the man in charge of the money has so much money that he didn't even know that his wife received £12 million in dividend payments last year. Can you imagine how rich you'd have to be not to know if your other half got 12 million quid last year? I mean, just pause and think about that. I bet you know if your other half found a tenner in an old jacket. And while we're on the subject, Fish's wife, who is richer than a blooming queen, by the way, actually took furlough money for the staff of some of her businesses. You paid a woman that's a billionaire to keep her staff paid during the lockdown. But I'm sure she's very grateful.
Thank you.
Grateful that we are so generous to those so much better off than us. I bet they wake up laughing. Meanwhile, the Resolution Foundation think tank said that the number of English households in fuel stress, that is, those spending at least 10% of their total budgets on energy bills, was set to double overnight from 2.5 to 5 million. Citizens Advice Chief Executive Dame Claire Moriarty said the energy price cap will potentially be ruinous for millions of people across this country. Millions of people that voted Conservative at the last election, and the one before that, and the one before that. And the only way the government will help now is if they sense that they'll lose at the ballot box badly enough to get chucked out of power. So whatever you do, poor people of the country, vote Conservative next time, or you might not get treated like you don't matter anymore, which is apparently what you want. As I have been told 1,000 times, that you know what you voted for. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Shut up.
I can't. 0345 6060 973. Will texts, I'd like to undo the triple lock on Sunak's purse. The Wirral, Gwyn.
Hello, Nick. It's about the meter readings and all that stuff. I'm on a prepay meter, I'm poor. And my current readings are 21.64, but I go into the fuel payments of 140 quid last year, which I put in January. But it's now gone up to 53. There's another standing charge, that is.
Yeah.
So it's gone up to 53 pence from 21 standing charge. So I've been changing my light bulbs, cutting down everything, and they're putting 30 odd pence on the standing charge.
Yeah, why is that? Because what's the standing charge actually cover? That's basically your rental
the electrics that are coming in, the maintenance and all that stuff.
Right, so it's basically the sort of rental charge of your equipment. But that's not going up. Why is that going up?
But what makes me baffled is, like, you've got, like, a company called OVO. I have named that because for a specific reason. It's because they provide 100% energy, sustainable energy. So why are they putting their prices up?
Well, I know precious little about it, but as far as I'm aware, it and this is the reason why it wouldn't really help us to try to explore the North Sea, is that it all gets sold internationally at the same price.
So therefore, it's not really renewable. When you subscribe to a renewable energy or a green company, you're not actually doing that. It's because they get their energy and then they put it back into the grid. So it's like ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, I don't know that that's true. I mean, if a company says that they're 100% green energy, then presumably, well, how would they know? That's a good point there, Gwyn. Thanks for that. How would they know? I mean, they don't have a pipe that runs direct from a windmill, do they? They just get it from, I don't know, there's probably a big bucket of electricity somewhere. They keep it in a bucket, I expect. And then they just take whatever they need out the bucket. Is that how it works? Probably is. But, yeah, I mean, see, that's the problem with North Sea gas and oil. It would take forever, apart from anything else, and it wouldn't reduce the price of our bills. Not a penny, because that will get set internationally. And it all appears to be set internationally by people who are intent on ripping us off. It's profiteering. I mean, there's no real reason why the fuel bills have gone up for so much. Why? Why have they gone up this much? I think they're just... And if the companies that are providing it are making profits that they couldn't possibly have imagined, their wildest fantasies, then that means that the actual cost of providing that fuel has not gone up. It's just that the amount that we're prepared to pay for it has gone up. Hence the massive profits. So they are profiteering. So we should be taxing them to the hilt and taking that money back because it's ours. They're just taking advantage. And in France, like I've mentioned, the French government has insisted that the major provider keeps the increase in their bills to 4%, not 40 or 400, 4. As in 1, 2, 3, 4.
And 1,
2,
2,
3,
11.
4%. Ours is going up 100%. In France, 4. So it can be done. It's just that this government prefers not to do it. And you have to ask yourself, well, why? If they're so concerned about, the little people, not leprechauns. Sutex, how many U-turns has this government made? Well, they're not doing U-turns anymore. I think they're on a roundabout. They're just going around and around and around and around, just trying to figure out which road to take. Which one will we will reflect on them the best? Oh, here's a road that says Jeremy Corbyn. Look at it, because it could be Jeremy Corbyn. Or foreigners in dinghies. Or, some woke nonsense. Oh, they've really hooked into that big time. We're going to be pouring that all over us from now and all the way through May for a start. Just see how it goes. Be woke this and woke that. Woke people are coming to take your biscuits. Bagshot. Hello, Charles. Oh, Charles.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Charles.
Yes, thank you, sir. You talked about the American healthcare system. Well, I lived in the United States for 5 years, and I worked for a company that provided health insurance. And in comparison, I'm sorry to say, but the NHS is garbage. Now, hear me out.
Well, it depends. It depends if you've got insurance or if you're rich.
Hear me out. I'm not saying we go to you've got to pay for your insurance. We need a hybrid model like they've got in they've got in France or Germany or maybe Australia. Now, the problem is the reason the NHS, the frontline staff at the NHS are absolutely superb, but they're failed by useless management. We could put another 100 billion into the NHS and we'd still have the problems. What we need is a hybrid model where the hospitals are privatised, but the government provides the insurance for everyone, like they do in France and Germany. The problem is, I mean, this is an organisation that is run so poorly because it's government run, and you've got like 12 billion they blew on an IT project that was a total disaster. What we need is the government to pay for the insurance and the hospital to be privatised. Because the way it is at the moment, it's a total, complete disaster.
Yeah,
And
if we could start from scratch, then I think you might have something there. And the system that they have in France and Germany and all other points, north, south, east and west in Europe, is better than ours. And the proof of that is the outcomes. The outcomes abroad are better than ours. They don't have the waiting lists that we do, and this sort of top-down thing where you've got to go to a GP in order to be referred to a consultant.
Yeah.
If you know your knee is bad, then you should go straight to like an orthopaedic surgeon, and he should take a look at you rather than the GP saying, well, I don't know what it is, I'll send you on to somebody who might. You should be able to go straight to the person who actually knows without this in-between step. So they do that over there. In America, it's probably the worst of all systems, unless you've got a load of money, in which case it may be the best system in the world.
I mean, if I could have, if everyone in Britain could have had the health insurance that I had in the States, it'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
And the problem is now in the American system, if you can't afford health insurance, you're screwed.
Yeah,
and
completely.
we don't want that. But
well, no, we don't, but I'm not sure that they don't. I'm not sure that the people who are actually going to make it happen, I'm pretty sure that they want that because, they're all rich. So, and the thing about rich people is that they don't like paying for the upkeep of poor people. I mean, that's one of their big things. That's why they don't like taxes, is because it goes for the upkeep of poor people.
But the thing is just backhanders too, isn't it? I mean, we saw what happened. You've got government involvement, you've got backhanders going on, you've got how many billions did we waste on this PPE and that didn't work, and some mates of... This is the problem, when the government's involved, you've got politicians and mates of mates...
Yeah, but that's not the NHS, really. I mean, that's just a problem with the political system in general. But the NHS, it's never been as badly thought of as it is now. I don't think in its history it has not been as badly thought of as it is now. After 12 years of Conservative rule, you'd almost think that that was the plan. If you were, unkind, you might think that that's the plan. It's not a mistake. It's not an error. It's the direction of travel. Thanks a lot, Charles. Got to go. 0345 6060 973. It's 12:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Andy Ivey.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
Sadly, yes. Sean texts, Dominic Raab is an over-promoted estate agent. What, you mean angular, tetchy, humanoid Dominic Deckchair Raab? An over-promoted estate agent, you say? This stunning country benefits from a deep, thick carpet of people that are easily led. Everything is stunning to an estate agent. Have you noticed? You look at an estate agent's ads, and absolutely every single property they've got is described in those terms. This stunning shed benefits from wooden walls and a roof. This stunning parking space comes with paint around it. They have to pick another word. Most three-bed semis are not stunning. I think you'll find that is actually a correct statement. Shelley texts, my cat licked me on my nose earlier. Oh.
Disgusting.
That's just awful, Shelley. You don't want to allow that. Bodmin, hello, Malcolm.
Oh, Nick, how you doing, sir?
Great, mate.
Nick, I'm roughly your age, around about the 60 mark.
60 mark?
Yeah. I'm 60 at the end of the month. Nick, in my 62 years on this planet, I've had 13 years of labour from 97 to 2010, and I had, 6-7 years of labour in the 70s.
Mm.
And for the rest of my life, I've had Tory government. Now, the electricity, the water, what else is there? The gas was sold off in the 70s, 80s-ish.
Yeah.
And they were sold off because they would be so much better in private hands.
Mm. Yeah, plus, all of the money that we would be able to share around because of it. These national assets that were being sold off for the benefit of the people of this country, all of whom got nothing.
And privatisation would be so much better for those industries.
Yeah.
And look where we are now, Nick.
Oh, we'd be paying much less because of the competition. That worked out well, didn't it?
No. But I rang him, Nick, in the hope of speaking to the last caller, who I'm almost sure, did he not say he had experience of the industry in America, the medical industry in America?
Mm-hmm.
Now, my guess is he was maybe an private insurance salesman or something like that. And people like him are absolutely desperate to get their hands on the NHS. And they will say anything it takes to convince people that we need to do the same with our beautiful National Health Service as we've done to our electric, our gas and our water, and our railways, and our railways and our local authority housing stock.
It seems as though it's less a government, when the Conservatives get in, it's less a government and more a smash and grab raid. They just look around the cupboards to see if there's anything they haven't sold yet for a short-term profit for a vanishingly few number of people. And if they can come up with something, it's like I've said this before, if they could sell our air, they'd have done it by now.
But the problem is, Nick, I thought that the Labour years were pretty good under Blair, especially, but the reality is that Labour are responsible for everything that's happened bad in the last 62 years.
Correct.
My life is Labour, all Labour's fault.
Specifically, Jeremy Corbyn.
But worse than that, everything that's happened in the last 12 years is because of Blair and Iraq.
Yes.
Blair and Iraq caused where we are now.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that Saddam is gone, the guy in Libya is gone, these
seem like beneficial outcomes, yes.
Yeah. But
I'm just looking at a graph of the annual average rise in government spending on the NHS above inflation. And you will not be surprised to learn that by far and away since 1949, the Labour government under Tony Blair and then Gordon Brown spent way more, 6% above inflation. And when the Conservatives got in, it plummeted to virtually zero. And then they said, well, gosh, I wonder why the NHS is doing so badly.
So they needed to work out a quotient, a number, a factor, Nick, for how technology has increased the bang per buck, which is not simply the nurses and the doctors and all that, but the tech that helps those people keep people alive and healthier for longer.
Well, that costs a lot, you see, doesn't it? I mean, not only the machines that go bing, they cost a lot of money to buy, and they're inventing new ones all the time, but then they've got all these exciting drugs.
Want to score some pot?
And they cost a lot more as well. And people are living longer, so they're getting more complicated illnesses for a longer period of time. And the amount of money that you're going to have to spend on health just to stay still is going through the roof. Go on.
So all in all, Nick, I would say, the NHS that we've got, I don't think people should be complaining at all.
I do. Well, I do.
They should be complaining.
I don't think they should be complaining at the people who are actually engaged in providing health, not nurses and not doctors, because they're doing what is probably, but to the most part, an excellent job under very, very difficult circumstances. But we should be complaining about where all our money is going and the direction of travel for the NHS, which doesn't appear to me to be in the direction of the best interest of the people of this country.
I don't know. You send an MP into hospital and ask them, to work a shift in the shoes of a doctor or nurse, and they'd last about 5 minutes before they'd either be vomiting or they'd be sitting in a heap in the corner because they couldn't stick to the pressure. Just the unpleasantness of some of the things that people in these places have to do and the stress it causes.
Right. Well, I don't think we're disagreeing. You may have got the wrong end of the stick. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that they're doing an excellent job under very trying circumstances.
Exactly. We agree to... Yeah, we agree on that.
We agree to agree. But wow, we're in total concord.
People like the last caller, it just annoys me that...
But he may be right. You see, we praise the NHS as though it is unimprovable, and if you do that, then you're part of the problem. It is improvable. It and absolutely is, and the proof is that you get better outcomes for various diseases and complications in other countries. Pretty much every other country in Europe has a better outcome and a better sort of patient interface. God, that's a terrible phrase, but you'd think of a better one. A patient interface.
Affirmative.
Than we do. I mean, they don't have these massive, long queues to get on a waiting list. There's no queue to get on a waiting list. You just go see your doctor. I mean, I know that that's true because I've talked to people who live in France and Spain and places like that. If they're ill, then they can see their doctor straight away. Kind of like private healthcare. But we in this country have the worst of all worlds. We have an NHS that is failing people because it's not funded sufficiently well, because we have fewer beds than pretty much anywhere else in Europe. We have fewer acute beds, we have fewer nurses, we have fewer doctors and fewer consultants and all of this. I mean, the system has been run down under the Conservative administration. Under Labour, they really did spend a good amount, but under the Tories, it just plummeted. But it could be better, and the system itself could be better. And once we sort of rid ourselves of this insistence that it must be free at the point of use, which gives you the idea that it's free, which then gives some people in the NHS the idea that you're not a customer, not like private medicine, you're not a customer so much as an irritant. There is a bit of that, whereas in private medicine you don't get that. They come out, shake you warmly by the hand, take you into their office, call you by your name. Is there anything else I can do for you? And 30 minutes later, you'll still be sitting there trying to get out the door while they're asking you, is there anything else that's wrong with you that I can take a peek at? Rather than, it's 5 minutes and your time's up. Next. But it's not the fault of the doctors and the nurses and so on in this country. They're just doing the best they can under very, very trying circumstances, which have been engineered for them by this and previous administrations, with an eye on making people so dissatisfied that they just go private. Like I was saying, we've got the worst of all worlds, because private medicine is, the cost of it is through the roof in this country. It's absolutely preposterous how much it costs. But they make it so that it's for, a lot of people, you just can't not do it. If you have the money and your life is being ruined by some niggling thing, like your knee's out, you need knee surgery or hip surgery, or your eyes need doing, or whatever it is, it's just ruining your life, and you don't get this time back again. It's not a rehearsal. This is it. That last minute there, just gone, you'll never get that again. And so people are looking at their life ticking away and they think, well, I can't walk. And I've just been put on a waiting list to go on a waiting list to see if I can get on a waiting list to get my knee done in like a year or 2 years or wherever it might be. So you go private. You pay a ton of money to do that. Whereas in other countries, not too far from here, in Europe, you don't get that. Because it's private, because the whole thing is private. It's just that it doesn't cost you any more as a person than we pay through our taxes here. It just seems different because there's no actual money that appears to change hands, but of course there is. Billions, hundreds, over 100 billion, 130 billion a year, something like that. So it isn't free, they pretend that it is. It is not unimprovable, the NHS. 0345 60, but you can't improve it by selling it and adopting the American model, which, like I said before, is the winner takes it all, which is fine if you're a winner. 0345 6060 973, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Harrow, Sebastian.
Hey, Nick. It's the little people. I'm the little people coming back to you.
Oh, great.
Nick.
Yes.
Now, we don't want the private grubby fingers of private companies touching all our earnings and savings and things that we put into the NHS over the
But
years.
they are. I mean, where do you think they buy all the medicines? From grubby private corporations that make medicines. Same with the machines, same with the bandages and the plasters and everything.
True, but we remember the PFI bids that we went into partnership with private companies who we are still paying for.
Stupid
and we still
idea.
haven't got out of yet.
Stupid idea, but it was to make it appear as though they built a lot of hospitals. They were sort of off book. Yeah. A short-term political benefit with like long-term financial consequences.
And are they doing these 40 new hospitals in that same sort of way?
There are no 40 new hospitals. They keep saying it, but it continues to be untrue.
40 hospitals, how many? 40.
40,
How many?
yeah.
40.
40,
40.
yeah, like,
and one?
Maybe one.
Oh, dear. But I wouldn't want any private company taking any advantage, because what they tend to think of is just profits. Ka-ching, money hitting their tills.
Well, yeah.
And they're not. Then they could even get together and force prices to go high.
Of course they will.
Conglomerations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't want anything to do with private. But yes, we definitely need a much more efficient system.
But the thing is, in Germany, they do not look wistfully at our system and think, gosh, I wish we had something like the NHS, because they're utterly delighted with what they have in Germany, which is more of a sort of a hybrid model where people do have insurance through their work, just in the same way that we pay our taxes and it goes to the NHS, so they pay a similar amount, but they don't call it tax, they call it insurance. It's the same thing. But the result is that when they go to the doctor, they're treated like a private patient, not just a part of the smelly masses who flood in as soon as we open the doors.
But if you try that in this country, it just won't work.
Why not?
The companies here don't have that outlook of let's help people. They have the outlook of we have the outlook of let's make as much money as we possibly can.
Yeah, but they're no different to here in Germany. We can organise them along the same lines, and it's not just Germany. It's pretty much every country in Europe has a better run system with better outcomes for the patients. Why would you not want that? Which part of that doesn't sound good?
I don't want the Tories to actually do that, because they're
right.
going
Well,
to put
okay. That would be the failing part for me too. Yes, if we could have somebody other than them organise it, might be a better idea.
Yeah, like an independent body, like the one. Well, I hope it's not going to be something like the independent body that decides their pay.
No. Not them. Definitely not them. No. That's a big no from me. And furthermore...
No. No, definitely no. Negative.
I mean, have you been treated in another country for a medical issue?
I haven't actually, to be honest. But I do get private healthcare from my company.
Right. And what's the experience like when you go to the doctor?
It absolutely, first of all, you've got to go to the GP, get a referral.
Yeah.
Once you've got the referral, it's like it's like you've opened the gates to heaven.
It's like living on a pink cloud, isn't it?
It's heaven. It's like, oh, please come over here. You can wait over here. Have a coffee while you're waiting.
Exactly. A coffee and a magazine that was printed this month, if you can believe that.
Exactly. And then they say, oh, did we miss you? Can you please come over here? We're going to get you seen immediately.
We can see you. You can get your MRI done yesterday, if not sooner, and you can get any treatment that you like under the sun, as long as you call up your insurance company and get the required number. Then they'll have you in a tube that goes me. Best sounding things ever. MRI machines. Somebody should record that and release it as a single. They sound fantastic.
I'd gone to the get something done, but the consultant, he saw there was something, some varicose veins kind of thing starting on my legs, and he says, "Oh, we need to get that seen to. Make sure that you can actually get that done." And I said, "Is it necessary right now?" He says, "No. In about 10 years' time, you will actually have problems. So if you get it sorted now, then you won't have to, live with
preventative medicine."
I know. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it.
Right, well, if you need them ripped out, Sebastian, then I'm not doing anything after the show. I'll give it a go. I'll give it a bash. I mean, I've got no idea what I'm doing, but I'll make an effort. How does that sound?
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. Anyway,
okay, thanks a lot. Cheers. 0345 6060 973. Paul texts, our supreme leader's defence is that he did not know that parties were held in his house. So the man in charge of the country can't even run his home in a lawful manner. This surely explains the mess we're all in. At least the fish are happy. Explain yourself, Bodger.
I can't comment on that.
Yeah, they're British fish and all the happier for it. Ain't that right, Smug?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
I don't know anything. Tim texts, we ended up with Boris Johnson because he was the least worst option between him and Uncle Jezza. You remember Jeremy Corbyn, don't you? Bill! That's right. That's right. He was Boris Johnson's the least worst option between him and Jeremy Corbyn. I don't know. I don't know that Jeremy Corbyn would have organised his party's finances such that they were so beholden to Russians, for instance. I don't think that Jeremy Corbyn would have accepted a six-figure sum for some woman to play tennis with him. I can't really see Jeremy Corbyn doing that. Can you? I couldn't see Jeremy Corbyn paying his mates £108 million, writing a cheque for that suspicious amount over and over and over again for PPE that either didn't exist or didn't work when it arrived, and that we've been spending £1 million a day on storing, and we are now burning. I just don't think that Jeremy Corbyn would have done that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Can't see it. I don't think that Jeremy Corbyn would have appointed one of his friends to head up a system that came up with a phone app that cost £37 billion that didn't work. I just don't think that Jeremy Corbyn would have done that. I don't think Jeremy Corbyn would have gone to the Italian villa of one of his close personal friends that the security services were saying, warning, might be a spy. I don't think that Jeremy Corbyn would have ditched his security detail and gone over there to that house for a spot of partying to the point that he looked like he was he'd been turned inside out. He was so hungover the next day, and has never explained since why he ditched his security to go there. I just don't think Jeremy Corbyn would have done that. I kind of doubt that Jeremy Corbyn would have taken a £2,212 pay rise. I sort of doubt that too. But you go ahead, Tim, and tell us how bad Jeremy Corbyn would have been. I'm all ears.